So big developments out of the Constitutional Court in Braamfontein this afternoon. The court basically dismissing an attempt by the Mkhwanzi party, its leader, former President Jacob Zuma, to basically have set aside at least 3 decisions that President Cyril Ramaphosa made following those allegations of corruption and interference in the criminal justice system made by the KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanzi earlier this month.
And remember, in part, the MK party challenging the decision by the president to appoint Firoz Cachalia as an acting police minister, at the same time placing the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu on a leave of absence, also at the same time taking issue with the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, which we know is going to be chaired by the man who's just left the Constitutional Court, and that is Lt-General Nhlanhla.
Here's our report.
This is the unanimous decision of the court. The Constitutional Court has considered the application for exclusive jurisdiction and direct access. It has concluded that the application does not engage the court's jurisdiction and no case has been made out for direct access. And the following order is made. 1, direct access is refused. 2, costs are reserved. 3, reasons for this order shall be given at a later date.
Well, let's get you more on the decision by the Constitutional Court today, basically rejecting direct access from the Mkhwanzi party, which wants to overturn a decision made by President Cyril Ramaphosa to place on suspension the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, as well as appoint Firoz Cachalia as the acting minister. He would have come from outside cabinet. And then there's also the issue of the establishment of a commission of inquiry, Judicial Commission of Inquiry, that's meant to look into these allegations of corruption and wrongdoing in the criminal justice system. Let's take this up with Lawson Naidoo from CASAC. Lawson, welcome back to the program. You and I spoke earlier this week. We're waiting for the court to hear the application. Today, it has denied the MKP the sort of permission that it wanted or the relief it was seeking, but ultimately it did not give reasons, and the MKP has wasted no time then in filling that void with reasons why it believes this application was denied. Your take?
Good evening, Tembekile. Indeed, it was no surprise that the Constitutional Court handed down the judgment that it did, essentially saying that the court's jurisdiction had not been engaged either on the basis of the exclusive jurisdiction of the court, nor on the basis of direct access to the court on this matter. As I say, it was not a surprise, because I think many people felt that this was a matter that should have been dismissed without even a hearing. But having heard the matter, much of the discussion yesterday was around whether the court's jurisdiction or the matter was properly before the court. And the court has decided that it is not, and therefore did not need to get into the merits of the arguments of the 3 remedies that were sought. So, this is back to square one for the MK party and Mr. Zuma, with the applicants in the case, as to whether they now take that matter up in the High Court.
But should the Constitutional Court, I wonder, Lawson, not have furnished the parties with reasons? And I ask that because we know how polarizing an issue this is, and there are all these political dynamics, rumors, allegations, supposition as well, that has clouded the process and has even tainted, by extension, the judiciary.
Well, the first point to make would be that, the court heard this matter on an urgent basis. The Constitutional Court is not equipped to really deal with matters on an urgent basis, but given that it needs a full bank of ConCourt judges to hear a matter, the court was clearly aware of the deadlines that were looming in terms of Justice Nhlanhla taking up his position effectively from tomorrow, having retired from the Constitutional Court today. The President's indication that Professor Cachalia would be appointed with effect from tomorrow. So I think the court has, turned around a decision very quickly. And part of the order that you just heard read out says that reasons will be provided in due course. Because there was legal argument on the matter, and the court will have to clarify the basis on which it's rejected these applications in order to set clear guidelines as to when the court's jurisdiction is engaged, because the court, I think, is acutely aware of not being swamped by applications directly to the court, where the court does not have the benefit of the consideration of matters by other courts before it gets there.
I wonder, though, Lawson, if it's not going to complicate the journey of chairing the inquiry that's going to look into these allegations for the now retired acting Deputy Chief Justice Nhlanhla, considering the commentary from the MKP, which in the immediate response from the spokesperson, Nhlanhla, the suggestion was basically that this was a biased decision. They were shocked and they couldn't believe that there was, in this case, to paraphrase, what they would read, I would imagine, as a miscarriage of justice. Do you think that'll add an extra layer of political pressure on Nhlanhla as he takes up his role as chair of the inquiry?
Well, I think the first point to make is that the response from the MK party is entirely predictable. They've attacked the judiciary in the past and have continued to do so today when the judgment went against them. I think, in the broader scheme of things, Justice Nhlanhla is a highly respected member of the Constitutional Court of the Judiciary in South Africa, and there can be very little doubt that he will execute his responsibilities as the head of this Commission of Inquiry with the integrity that he's demonstrated throughout his career, and would not be deserving of the kind of political attacks that he might come under.
And there's breaking news, Lawson, as you and I are speaking. President Cyril Ramaphosa's office issuing a statement confirming that the former head of the Gauteng court system, that's Dunstan Mlambo, the judge, will now, from tomorrow, take up the role of Deputy Chief Justice of South Africa. So breaking news tonight, President Cyril Ramaphosa has decided to appoint Judge Dunstan Mlambo as the country's next Deputy Chief Justice. That begins almost effective immediately tomorrow, the 1st of August. Give us your reading of the decision and what you think Mlambo will bring to the bench.
Well, we know, Tembekile, that Judge President Mlambo was interviewed by the Judicial Service Commission, was recommended by them, and whilst the President is not bound by the recommendation of the JSC, he has opted to abide by that and to appoint Dunstan Mlambo as the Deputy Chief Justice. I think it's a welcome development. This is a Judge President of the busiest court in the country that has managed that court very effectively, has demonstrated a level of leadership, of understanding of the challenges that face the judiciary, how to try and streamline court processes. So I think he brings a wealth of experience, both administratively and I think also jurisprudentially, to the Constitutional Court, and I think this is a welcome development that will certainly serve the Constitutional Court well in the years to come.
And while we talk about the now, former, I would imagine, Judge President of Gauteng, Dunstan Mlambo, there were concerns at the interview phase about how his advanced age, shall we say. Do you think the fact that he, because of his age, is likely to not be in the Constitutional Court long enough to become Chief Justice, is that a loss for the country?
Well, he certainly, I don't think, and I think this was traversed during his interview, he said that, he's only got a few years to go before retirement, but he feels that he will make a contribution to the court in the time that he has left on the bench. Certainly he will, is very unlikely to ascend to the highest judicial office in the country. There was a lot of debate a few years ago when he was interviewed for the Chief Justice position and treated many have argued very unfairly by the Judicial Service Commission at the time. He was ambushed with some of the questions based on, gossip and rumor rather than being, stated as any facts, and it certainly prejudiced his candidacy at that time. And I think, the fact that he is now ascended to this highest court in the second most important position is some consolation for that. And he now has the opportunity to make that contribution to the Constitutional Court. And I think the time that he has left, he will have that impact.
And do you think there's anything to be gleaned or drawn from his skill set that's going to help the Constitutional Court and the broader judiciary to basically navigate what are likely to be very choppy waters, Lawson, in the next 3 to 6 months, not least because of the Mkhwanzi allegations and the fact that we're told that some members of the judiciary, judges and magistrates, may very well be named?
Well, I think, that's a matter that sits really very much within the realm and the authority of the Chief Justice, Justice Maya, who will handle that, as she has already demonstrated with the statement that was issued from her office after Lt-General Mkhwanzi's allegations, to say if there are specific people that have been mentioned, then the formal channels of complaints to either the Judicial Service Commission or the Magistrates Commission should be made, so that those matters can be properly investigated and disposed of. And if there are corrupt elements within the judiciary or the magistracy, I think it's in the interest of all South Africans that those processes be followed. So there will be some scrutiny, but we'll have to see the exact kind of evidence, because so far Mkhwanzi has not provided much detail in terms of who those people might be, at what levels they operate, and so on. So that is something that we'll have to look out for once the Nhlanhla Commission gets underway.
All right, Lawson, good to talk to you as always. Thank you so much for making time.